After the sparkling success of Chandrayaan-3, the moon lander, the India is now aiming for setting up its own space center, that is the India's Space Center, by the year 2035, and the moon mission by the year 2040. Now these are ambitious goals which has been set up by the Prime Minister of India, that is Narendra Modi, while having a meeting with the ISRO Chairman. So that is what we'll be looking today. Hello and welcome to the In Focus series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's episode we will be looking today, India will set up a space station by the year 2035. First of all, about the timeline, first we'll be looking at the news, then what is space station, which countries have a space station till now, and then what is International Space Station, India's first human space flight in 2025, and in the end a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is Science and Tech. From exam perspective, you should be able to know that which countries have space station till now and about the International Space Station. So let's begin. The news talks about what is a space station that India will set up by 2035, which countries have one. So there are three aspects and we will be looking into all three. So that is, first is what is a space station India is planning to set up by the year 2035, and which all other countries are there who have these. So the Prime Minister of India, PM Modi, he has listed objectives for the Indian Space and Research Organization during a review of India's first manned space mission, that is Gaganyaan. So he was reviewing about what is going on with respect to the Gaganyaan mission. So in that meeting with ISRO's chairman, PM Modi has also listed out few of the goals or objectives for the ISRO in the coming times. So a crucial test flight for which is scheduled on the year 2025. Now we need to talk about few of the things, which the goals that PM Modi has talked about in the meeting, and that is setting up a space station by the year 2035. Indian Space Station. A huge, I would say, an aim or a goal this is, because as of now there is only one country which has its own space station, and that is China. And the manned mission to the moon by the year 2040. So development of a next generation launch vehicle, that is NGLV. This is also one of the goals. Then interplanetary missions, including a Venus orbiter mission and a Mars lander. So these are few of the goals or the objectives which PM Modi has discussed with the ISRO chairman. So let's see. Do not forget the year that has been given for setting up of India's space station, that is 2035. So let us first see what is a space station. So it is an artificial structure. Artificial structure means man-made structure which goes up in the orbit, Earth's orbit, and then it remains there only. So it is an artificial structure that is sent to the orbit and which remains there. Like for example, if this is our Earth, so there is a man-made structure which goes from Earth to the orbit of the Earth. Like imagine this is the space station, so it will go into the orbit and it will remain there and do its own prescribed job. So this is a space station and it has all the necessary equipment to sustain human life for long period of time, because the space station also have space where humans can also remain there and for a long period of time and can work. Like for example, the International Space Station, which is prevalent, and the Tiangong Space Station of China, they also have capacity for humans to remain inside the space station. And it includes a pressurized enclosure, power and environmental systems, so that the astronauts which are inside the space station, they will be able to function well. Then a number of activities can be conducted on a space station, like for example, observing objects in space, planets such as the sun and the moon, they can be observed also. Then studying Earth and examining the long-term effects of space on the human body. So whenever a space station is set up, it does not remain specific or specified to just a single aim or a single goal. A space station has many functions to perform. Like it can look into multiple disciplines and multiple subjects on which it will work. It will not be only restricted to just one aspect. Like for example, it will only observe Earth. It will observe Earth, it will observe other planets, it will observe the galaxy, it will observe sun, it will observe all other things also. Then smaller space stations are usually assembled into one piece and then launched into orbit, while the larger space stations are usually sent piecemeal and then assembled into orbit. Now what happens? Look at this picture. This is the picture of the International Space Station. So this is the structure of the International Space Station, but at the time of its launch, this is not the structure how it goes to the orbit. It goes in a single piece. Then after it reaches its destination in Earth's orbit, then it assembles itself. So what happens is that in the starting, it does not go like this. In the starting, it goes step by step, and then after each passing step, the different equipments of the space station, it tends to take its position, and at its own position it starts to work. Like for example, these portions and these clips of the space stations, they tend to be assembled and merged with each other at the time of its launch, but when it reaches its destination, then it opens itself. Then space stations usually run on a combination of solar panels and batteries, because they remain in the orbit for a very long period of time. So it becomes very difficult for them to run on fuel all the time. So solar panels can get recharged at the right moment, and the life of the space station can be extended with its help. Now, which countries have a space station? So as of now, if we talk about a single country, then China is the only country which has its own space station, and the name of the self-built space station of China is the Tiangong Space Station. You need to remember the name, and it belongs to China. The name is Tiangong Space Station, and it is also known as Celestial Palace or Heavenly Palace, and it has been operational since the year 2022. So not very far away, last year only it has happened, it has become operational, and it currently hosts 3 astronauts. So there are 3 astronauts also which are working inside the Tiangong Space Station. There are 2 male and 1 female, and the orbital altitude at which Tiangong Space Station is working is at 450 kilometers. So, and see, the core part of the Tiangong Space Station, that is this part, the name is Tianhe. Tianhe. The name is Tianhe, and this part is attached to the core part. So it is not that the Tiangong Space Station, when it was launched, it went like this. No, it was assembled, and when it reached its destination, then it opened itself. And China in 2023 is also planning to launch the Zhongtian Space Telescope also. So this was about the Tiangong Space Station, and there is International Space Station also, but International Space Station does not belong to a single country. There are many countries which are involved in its creation, and that is, it is jointly run by the European Space Agency, NASA, Russia, Canada and Japan. So there are many countries involved here, and it orbits around 400 kilometers above the Earth. So Tiangong is around 450 kilometers, while International Space Station is about 400 kilometers. And International Space Station is the oldest space station, while Tiangong has just last year back. So it is the oldest, and it is the largest human structure ever placed in space and can hold a crew of 7 astronauts. So 7 astronauts can stay in the International Space Station, while the Tiangong had only 3. And Tiangong is just 40% of the mass of the ISS. So International Space Station is very large in size, and the mass is also very high as compared to China's Tiangong space station. So Tiangong is smaller as compared to the International Space Station, and it circles the earth every 90 minutes, and International Space Station will be decommissioned by the year 2030. So the running time of the International Space Station is almost coming to its end, and it will be decommissioned by the year 2030. And after this, the International Space Station can be used by other astronauts to do research or to practice other things, and this can also work as a study material for other countries, that how International Space Stations can be built. Then India's first human space flight in 2025, that is Gaganyaan. Expected year is 2025. Because of the COVID pandemic, it got delayed, and under it 3 flights will be included and will be sent into the orbit, and there will be, out of 3 there will be 2 unmanned flight, and the last, that is third one, will be the human space flight. So in total there will be 3 Indian astronauts, including a woman, and there is also a humanoid robot which has went, and that is 𝐕𝐿 𝐕𝐿, and it will circle earth at a low earth orbit at an altitude of around 300 to 400 kilometers, and number of days is for 5 to 7 days. So this is about Gaganyaan. Expected year 2025. How many in total flights? That is 3, 2 unmanned, 1 manned. Robot is 𝐕𝐿. How many days? 5 to 7 days. Low earth orbit 300 to 400 kilometers, and in total number of astronauts 3. Now in the end, a prelims MCQ, and it is a PYQ question of the year 2020. So by reading this, you will be coming to know that how the UPSC is asking questions nowadays. The experiment will employ a trio of spacecraft flying in formation in the shape of an equilateral triangle that has sides 1 million kilometers long, with lasers shining between the craft. So the experiment in question refers to Voyager 2, New Horizons, LISA Pathfinder, or Evolved LISA. So this was the question asked by the UPSC in the year 2020. So you can know that it can also give the question in this format, where it will talk about the features of the component or the subject, and they will ask you which subject is being discussed here. So try to give me the answer in the comment section, and that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.